Imagine this. It's a cold February night in 1978. Five friends, Jack Madruga, Bill Sterling, Jackie Hoot, Ted Wire, and Gary Mathias are driving home to Yuba City, California. After watching a basketball game in nearby Chico, they're all in their 20s and early 30s. Close friends, described as slow learners, but fully capable and independent. They were expected home that night. Their families waited and waited, but they never arrived. This is the story of the Yuba County Five, a case that starts with a simple wrong turn and spirals into one of the most baffling and heartbreaking mysteries in American history. It's a story that feels like it was ripped from a horror movie, but every chilling detail is terrifyingly real. The initial disappearance was alarming, but what happened next turned concern into sheer confusion. A few days later, a park ranger discovered Jack Madruga's car, a turquoise and white Mercury Montego, abandoned on a remote, snow-covered mountain road. This wasn't just any road. It was a deserted dirt track deep in the Plumas National Forest, about 70 miles in the complete opposite direction of their home. The car wasn't crashed. It wasn't stuck in a deep snowdrift. In fact, police noted that with a few strong pushes, it could have easily been freed. It still had a quarter tank of gas, more than enough to turn around and head back down the mountain. Yet, there it was, sitting silently in the snow. The doors were unlocked, and the window was rolled down. Inside, everything seemed strangely normal. There were maps, jackets, and the wrappers from snacks they'd bought on their way back from the game. It was like they had stopped mid-journey, gotten out, and simply walked away into the freezing wilderness. The keys were missing. Why would five men abandon a perfectly good car on a deserted mountain in the middle of a winter night? This question is the first chilling layer of the mystery. As search teams began scouring the area, the weather turned against them. A massive snowstorm buried the mountains under feet of fresh powder, making any search impossible. The days stretched into weeks, the weeks into months. The families of the five men were left in an agonizing limbo, holding on to hope while staring at a map that made no sense. The trail had gone cold, buried under a thick blanket of winter snow. While the official search was stalled, investigators looked for any lead they could find. They discovered that the men had stopped at a small market in Chico after the game. The clerk remembered them well. They were in good spirits, buying snacks and sodas for the drive home. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. They were just five friends on a normal night out. Then, a bizarre and disturbing piece of information surfaced. A man named Joseph Shands came forward with an incredible story. He told police that on the same night the men vanished, he had been driving up that same mountain road to check on his cabin. His car got stuck in the snow, and as he was trying to push it out, he started experiencing a mild heart attack. Lying in his car in pain, he saw headlights approaching from behind him. A car pulled up, and he saw a group of people get out, including what looked like a woman holding a baby. He called out for help, but the group ignored his cries. A little while later, he saw another set of lights, this time from flashlights, moving around in the woods nearby. He called out again, and the lights immediately went out. The voices he heard fell silent. Hours later, cold and weak, Shands managed to get his car running and drive back down the mountain. Was this group the Yuba County Five? And if so, why didn't they help him? The detail about a woman and a baby made it even more confusing, as it didn't match the group of five men. This strange encounter only added a new layer of inexplicable behavior to an already bewildering case. For long months, there were no answers. The snow-covered mountains held their secret. Then, in early June, as the spring thaw finally melted the heavy snowpack, the search resumed. A group of motorcyclists exploring the remote trails stumbled upon something that would break the case wide open. They found a Forest Service trailer, a sort of shelter for forestry workers, nearly 20 miles on foot from where the car had been abandoned. The path to this trailer was through harsh, unforgiving mountain terrain. A window of the trailer was broken, and when authorities entered, they found a scene that was both tragic and deeply unsettling. Inside lay the body of Ted Wire. He was wrapped in 8 sheets, as if his friends had tried to keep him warm. He had lost nearly 100 pounds, and the autopsy determined he had died from a combination of starvation and hypothermia. He had a long, grown-out beard, suggesting he had survived in that trailer for weeks, possibly even months. And this is where the story takes another dark turn into the truly bizarre. In the storage shed next to the trailer, investigators found a massive supply of rations and other canned foods, enough to feed all 5 men for over a year. There were matches, paperback books, and even a propane tank with fuel that could have been used to heat the entire trailer. Yet, only a small number of the cans had been opened, and it seemed they were opened with a can opener from the men's own supplies, not the one available in the trailer. Why would a man starve to death when he was surrounded by food? Why would he freeze when heat was available? Was he too disoriented? Was he afraid to use the supplies? Or was there something else in that trailer, or outside it, that prevented him from saving himself? The discovery of Ted Wire led searchers to refocus their efforts in the area around the trailer. Soon after, they made more grim discoveries. The remains of Bill Sterling and Jack Madruga were found about 11 miles from the car, along the road leading toward the trailer. It appeared they had succumbed to the elements long before reaching it. Madruga was found with the car keys in his pocket. A few hundred yards away, they found Jackie Hoot's remains. His father was the one who identified his son's genes and then his bones. It was a heartbreaking end to a desperate journey through the snow. 4 of the 5 men had now been found, but one man was still missing: Gary Mathias. Mathias had a history of mental health challenges, specifically schizophrenia, but he was on medication and had been doing well. His family described him as the most street smart of the group, the one who might have been able to navigate a survival situation. Inside the trailer where Ted Wire was found, investigators discovered Gary Mathias's tennis shoes. This small detail is one of the most haunting parts of the entire case. It implies that Mathias made it to the trailer. He was there with Ted Wire. Did he take off his shoes and leave them behind? And if so, where did he go? Did he walk barefoot into the snow-covered forest? Did he continue on, trying to find help, only to perish somewhere in the vast, untracked wilderness? Or did something else happen to him? To this day, Gary Mathias has never been found. Not a single trace of him has ever been discovered beyond his shoes in that trailer. He simply vanished. So what really happened to the Yuba County 5? The most common theory is that the men, perhaps confused on their way home, took a wrong turn up the mountain. Maybe their car got lightly stuck, and in a moment of panic or confusion, possibly influenced by Gary Mathias, who may have been experiencing a mental health episode, they decided to abandon it and walk. They might have been following the snowplow tracks, thinking it was a road that would lead them back to civilization, not deeper into the wilderness. They walked for miles in the freezing cold, becoming disoriented and succumbing to the elements, one by one. But this theory doesn't explain everything. It doesn't explain why they abandoned a working car. It doesn't explain the strange sighting reported by Joseph Shantz, and most importantly, it doesn't explain why Ted Wire starved to death in a trailer full of food, or what happened to Gary Mathias. Why did he leave his shoes behind and walk out into the frozen forest? Did he meet with foul play? Or did he simply wander off, his body lost to the mountains forever? The case of the Yuba County 5 remains officially unsolved. It's a tragic story of a night out that went horribly wrong, leaving behind a trail of questions that have no answers. It's a reminder of how quickly the familiar can become terrifying, and how some mysteries may never be solved, their secrets kept forever by the silent wilderness. Thanks for watching, and if you found this story as compelling as I do, make sure to like and subscribe for more deep dives into history's most fascinating mysteries.